Be a little patient with us. We are ready for you. And tonight, I have a special honor, okay, of bringing a very special guest here to chat with us tonight. Now, speaking of the girlfriend experience, this is one of my very best girlfriends, hands down, okay? And she is, you guys, she got her bachelor's degree from University of South Carolina, okay? Master's degree from Winthrop University. I mean, worked in numerous environments for nutrition, including geriatrics, oncology, pediatrics. I mean, this girl has got credentials, okay? Please join me in welcoming my family, my sister, Mrs. Kayla Hopkins, MS, RD, LDN.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you great, but Deborah Cheston, our mother, is saying that it has an echo.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Honestly, guys, we have been troubleshooting for the past couple of minutes here, trying to get this to work. We thought we knew Facebook Live. We thought we knew how everything was going to work, but it had some surprises in store for us. So
yes,
sorry about
that. We really thought that we were tech savvy, but it showed us a little something.
Right.
So let's jump right into it anyway. Kayla, I've turned my volume down a little bit. Maybe that helps. Echo on Jamie only. Okay. Well, let us know. We are working through this, but if you can hear us okay, just give me a thumbs up or let me know. Let us know if there's still an echo. I have my volume turned down. Okay. No echo? Okay, I'm assuming that we're good to go. So definitely when we post this video onto YouTube and other platforms, this part is getting cut out. So welcome, Kayla. Kayla is a registered dietitian. You know, some of you aren't familiar with that term. You may think of it, you know, certified nutritionist, but she's got her license. She is legit. Kayla, please tell us a little bit about, you know, why nutrition is so important to you and, you know, why it's so important for us to come together and, you know, bring this to, you know, the public.
Well, one of the things that I truly believe in is I want to make healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, healthy living just easy and simple for everyone. I think right now, especially with social media, Googling, ask your friend or whoever she heard from her auntie or whatever it is, like you get all these mixed signals and misinformation, and I just want to be that source of correct information. And just make it simple. So tailor it to whatever your specific lifestyle is, whatever works for you, and just make it easy, because I think it can be easily overwhelming. So of course, I believe that, I think my phone is falling a little bit. I believe that you can cure and heal and treat so many things through nutrition. And I've experienced it myself, and I just want to share that with others.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, that sounds good to me. And, you know, I really appreciate having full access to you. And I know all of our friends and family do too, because, you know, it's so difficult to figure out, you know, on your own, you know, is the keto diet right? Or, you know, should I go vegan or vegetarian? Or should I be doing the paleo diet? You know, there's so much out there, you know, so many different fads. Even back in the day, I know some of y'all older people watching me, y'all remember the Atkins diet? You know, the Atkins diet was a diet where it's like all you eat is meat. Kind of similar to like the keto, but they rename them through the years and everything. And I just need to hear information from somebody that looks like me and somebody that I can trust and somebody that I can relate to tell me, how it's working. And not only that, sometimes you see some of these online gurus and stuff like that, and they're telling you about nutrition and what you can do, and they're overweight themselves. So it's like, it's not working for you. I need you to make it work for me. So that's why I have it here. We need your help. Not just I need your help. We all need your help. Let's get right into it. What are some tips that you can give us, to live by?
Okay, well, I came up with just 7 quick tips, and if you see me glancing down, I'm just looking at my laptop where I have my notes. 7 tips to stay healthy during quarantine, which is what's relevant to all of us. Whether we work from home all the time, a couple days a week, we're at home a lot more nowadays. So I came up with some things, and it stemmed from a lot of frequently asked questions from our family members or my friends, just different things that people are struggling with. So hopefully it helps. So I'll just jump right into it. My first thing is to walk at least 30 minutes a day. So I don't identify as like a fitness person. I'm a nutrition person, but you have to have both, right? Okay. So at work, when you're at work walking around from your office to here and there, you don't realize how many steps you're actually getting in. And at home, I'm telling you, you're getting in a lot less. So one of my first tip is definitely going to be on your lunch break, before you start or when you get off, walk at least 30 minutes a day. So,
what about those people who they work long hours and they really just, by the time you get home, it's dark. So,
well, in that case, honestly, if by the time you get home it's dark, then I would encourage you to work out in the morning or on your lunch break, or just take 10 minutes. If you can't do 30 minutes, take 10 minutes once a day. Then then up it to 20 minutes, then up it to 30. It doesn't, depending on your work schedule, if you have that kind of wiggle room, try to get at least 30 minutes a day of walking in.
And so does it matter if you break those 30 minutes up, or do you have to do it all at once, or what?
No, I don't think so. I think it's even better to do it throughout the day, just so you won't feel stiff or start to feel lethargic throughout the day. I think it's great if you spread it out. So I don't think it really matters. But either way, it's just important to get the body moving. I've seen on Amazon, they have those little pedalers that you can put under your desk just to keep your foot moving. I don't know if you've seen those before.
Yes, I have.
So that's something that you could utilize if you really, really cannot get up. But just anything to keep you moving is going to be really beneficial.
Yeah. And why is it 30 minutes? Can it be shorter?
Well, it's because, going by the American Heart Association's recommendation for physical activity, right? That's what we mostly base things on. 30 minutes is kind of a quick and easy thing for people to remember in most cases, but for good heart health, you need at least 150 minutes per week. So I'm not necessarily a math person, but I pretty much round that up to about 30 minutes a day. So.
5 days walking.
If you skip a day, you're still going to reach that goal.
Okay. And I hear you guys still talking about the echo, and I'm really sorry about that. I'll try to talk, more quietly, but it's just a little bit of feedback. If you don't wear headphones, then basically what you hear is me coming through Kayla's speaker. So bear with us and please be forgiving. But hopefully you guys can still hear us and still getting the information and everything. So, all right. So walking 30 minutes a day, I kind of know that it gets the body moving and everything. What else you got for us? Because, we need more. People need to hear more, because people are going to pick and choose what kind of information they think is best for them, So what else is important for people to do?
So another thing and these two kind of go together, it's meal prepping and keeping it simple sometimes. So those are two different tips, but they sort of go together. So just because you're not, and of course I'm speaking to the people that are working from home, but if you're not working from home, then you can just do this and bring it to work. I think meal prepping is so important, especially for breakfast and lunch. I understand, and I feel the same way, that dinner time, you're with your family, you're with your friends, you want to try a new recipe, you want to use several ingredients, you want to make it extra luxurious. I think that's fine. So the purpose of meal prepping is to pre-portion your meals. In my opinion, pre-portion your meals ahead of time, take out the guesswork, and if you have something readily available for you, you're less likely to make unhealthy decisions. So tip number 2 is to still meal prep even though you're at home. That's tip 2. So, and that is so that you can avoid cooking too many lavish meals for every meal, because this is something I did myself. So when I went from working from home, right, I was thinking like, okay, finally I'm back home. So let me make this frittata for breakfast, and let me make this, grilled shrimp quesadilla for lunch. And then I'm going to have a enchilada with da-da-da for dinner. Like, every meal doesn't have to be super important, like you're at a restaurant. And that that happened to me, and I had to pull back from that. Having your simple oats and some fruit for breakfast, yogurt, having some cereal, just anything that you would normally just grab and go when you're on your way to work is fine to do in quarantine. Don't forget how you used to eat before. So, I see our mom. She's like having a proud mom moment in the comments. Hey, Mom. And so meal prepping will help you keep that under control.
Okay. So let's dig a little bit deeper into meal prepping. And you guys, if you have questions, comments, please feel free to put them in. We are watching, we can see your comments, and we are ready for them. So let's talk about meal prepping like in depth, because you hear this meal prepping, meal prepping, meal prepping. Like, and I'm imagining me going out and buying $1 million worth of Tupperware and, eating the same food over and over again.
Okay. That common misconception, I mean, not even a misconception, because that can happen, but what is behind it, or the purpose of it, is just so you don't get into these situations where you're starving and you have to make a rash decision. Because truly, when you are very hungry, your body craves sugar and carbohydrate, or sugar and fat. That's what your body craves, because that's what's going to get you full the fastest. And it's going to feel satiating short term to get over that hunger pain. So the purpose of having things that that you're going to eat, you don't have to have the classic grilled chicken, broccoli, and rice in your little Tupperware, right? You can just have an idea of what you're going to eat, so that you know what to grab for when that hunger strikes. So, for example, for those that like to eat eggs, right? What you can do is take 4 or 5 eggs, boil them all on a Sunday. And then once they're done, stick them in your fridge. Whenever you get hungry, whenever you need to have breakfast, grab 1, grab 2. Boom, there you go. There's your breakfast. So it doesn't have to be so strict, especially since you're at home, but I do think there should be a plan in place. So for lunch, go ahead.
You saw me take a breath.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the same thing for
that. Like, I've heard you before talking about, like making a Buddha bowl type of thing, where, you can kind of mix and match, and you get all these different ingredients and cook them ahead of time, and then decide, what you're going to put in your bowl that day to kind of give yourself some variety. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, that is what I call ingredient prepping, which is the same thing sort of as meal prepping, but I think kind of now meal prepping has like a little bit of a bad rap. But the idea behind that is to maybe roast 3 sweet potatoes, for example, with some roasted chickpeas or whatever your protein is. Do a bunch of grilled chicken, do a bunch of rotisserie chicken. Then pre-rinse all of your lettuce. Sorry, I'm getting a notification. Rinse all of your lettuce and just have those compartments that you can just turn into anything. Maybe do like a pot of couscous or rice or quinoa or something like that. And then that way you can make your Buddha bowl. So you can start with the rice as a base, add some veggies, add your protein, find like a low sugar, low fat sauce to go over the top or a dressing. There you go. You could also get a wrap. Take those same ingredients, roll them up into a wrap.
Okay.
Turn those same ingredients into a salad or, that. But again, you're prepping ingredients to have an idea of what you're going to eat, and you're still going to avoid that. I'm hungry right now. I need to just grab whatever.
Okay, so I'm imagining this in my head, and this is really working for like a single person. It's just you. You only have to worry about you. I have a teenage son. I know some of our viewers have kids. Some people even have more than one child. How are we going to squeeze meal prep into kids?
It's honestly not as long as people think it is. I mean, you could, in the span of, you could take some of your Netflix watching time. Like if you binge watch a series, you could like take 2 episodes off of that, spend 2 hours prepping those items. It really honestly doesn't take that long. And I do have a few resources that I want to mention. Pinterest is my number one go-to for meal prepping ideas. Some people go to Pinterest for decorating. Some people go to Pinterest for, whatever, but they have such a huge variety of healthy recipes and meal prepping ideas. So yeah, right. I see my mom saying, do it Sunday for the week. Sunday is a typical day that a lot of people like to meal prep just because you're usually kind of chill on that day. So Pinterest is one, and then skinnytaste.com is another website that has a lot of really good healthy recipes that are pretty much my go-tos whenever I'm talking to my patients and they're looking for a healthy recipe with chicken or with fish, or if you can kind of pick your ingredient, it'll make you find recipes. It'll help you find recipes for it.
Okay, so that's on Skinny Taste.
Yes.
Okay, so Skinny Taste, Pinterest to get different ideas of what to buy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to tailor your social media too. Use the resources that you're on the most whenever you need ideas for meal prepping or whatever it is. The website is skinnytaste.com.
I'll put it in the comments.
But that's another strategy that I do. Follow some healthy eating Instagram feeds or Facebook pages. Kind of immerse yourself in it.
Mm-hmm.
That helps.
So make it, by immerse, you're saying like make it all that you see, make it a part of, what's in your vision all the time, so that it's just a regular part of your life.
Yeah, just use the resources that we have, because we have a lot of resources with, our phones and our computers and everything. So just use them. There's a lot out there. So those are my 2 go-to places for ideas and inspiration.
Okay. And how do you feel about, like, this is random, just throwing this out there. How do you feel about those, those meal delivery services? Can those be helpful when you're doing your nutrition? Just me personally, one experience I had, I was getting meals from Green Chef. Okay. And I won't say, oh, have you heard of Green Chef? I'm not going to pretend you're not my sister and I'm not talking to you on a daily, regular basis. But so you remember when I was getting Green Chef and when Mommy was getting Green Chef, part of the thing that we realized is that, I'm getting these vegetarian meals and everything, and sometimes vegan, but they were loaded with calories. What do you do if you are a vegan, vegetarian person and you're trying to get everything in, trying to get everything right, but you just don't eat meat, you won't consider it, and you have to, maybe load up on the veggies, the potatoes, or whatever. And the meal prep, like, what do you have an idea of the best meal prep, or maybe edit it, or just what?
Well, When it comes to food and nutrition, I am a control freak. So I personally, it would take all of my control away if I used a meal delivery service. I think they're great though. I think they inspire people to try new things, which I love. So I don't think they're a bad thing. I just feel that, just pay attention to the portion size on those. With vegetarian or vegan diets, the thing I think that some vegetarians may come in contact with, and I've come in contact with it myself, a lot of our proteins are also carbohydrates.
Okay.
So meat eaters don't have that problem. So when they eat a protein, it is just protein. Chicken is just protein. Steak, just protein, right? So when we eat our proteins, lentils, different beans and different, even carbohydrates and grains and couscous and quinoa. I mean, they have protein too, smaller amounts. It's also a carbohydrate. So we're kind of, to get our protein intake, you're kind of eating a lot of carbs, kind of, in a way. So I just feel like if you can, I would lean on more plant-based protein sources if you're into it. So if you don't want the processed plant-based protein, I would really lean into tofu, tempeh, and things like that to try that more, because those are pure plant proteins per se.
Okay.
So it's taking away, still beans they're natural sources of protein and they're good. It's just to balance things out with the high calorie meals.
So, okay, we have a question. Should we calorie count? Okay, that is like a huge deal deciding, especially when you become vegan. They tell you, oh, you don't really have to count calories anymore. You just have to eat the right stuff, or don't worry about carbs. Carbs are good for you. Why do you have to count carbs? And you're getting the good carbs. So, can we talk about good calories versus bad calories and good carbs versus bad carbs? And do you have to count on every type of diet?
I think it depends on what your goals are. So of course, any sort of weight loss, no matter how they fancy it with the diet or whatever the diet's called, it is just a calorie deficit. That is it. That is the way we lose weight. In order to lose 1 pound a week, you have to have a deficit of 500 calories per day. That's just how it is. But there's different ways to achieve that.
More out than in.
Correct.
Use more than your okay.
Yeah, or you just eat 500 calories less than whatever your calorie goal is. So that would be determined. You could go to a dietitian, or I think you can go to a doctor, and they can tell you just how many calories you need to just survive.
Okay.
So that
based on your weight or what?
Yeah. So you could go by that. Usually for adults, you need about 25 calories per kilogram of body weight. So to find out how many kilograms you weigh, you just take your weight and divide it by 2.2. Multiply that by 25.
And divide it by 222.
2.2.
Oh, 2.2.
To change it to kilograms.
Okay.
And then you would
that will determine what?
That determines, sorry, I'm going kind of fast. So in order to calculate how many calories you on average need per day, and anything over that, you would be gaining weight. If you reach that, you'd be maintaining. If you're under that, you'd be losing. You would do about, this of course is very unique to the person. And, anyone can shoot me an email if you want me to do the full calculation and give me your height and weight and your age and stuff like that. You can send me an email. We'll put my email at the end. But it's just, you take your kilograms of your body weight and multiply by 25. And that's typically on average how many calories you need per day.
Okay. And so is there any truth to the whole, the average woman needs 1,500 calories a day, the average man needs 2,000 calories a day? Or is that just based on average weights and heights?
Yeah, it is individual. It's truly individual. I think we had one more question. I can't see the comments.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't see them.
We have, what is your take on Beyond Burgers? And at first I thought how do you feel about chest days, but it's cheat days? So let's talk about Beyond Burgers and cheat days.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't think we'd have so many questions. I'm excited. Okay. So Beyond Burgers. Okay. Beyond Burgers, for me, they're going to fall into the same category that any sort of vegan chicken, vegan sausage, vegan whatever falls under. It is a great alternative in terms of it's going to be lower in saturated fat than beef. It's going to be probably not lower in calorie though. But if you're thinking about your heart health, if you have high blood pressure, if yeah, I think that's about it. That is that's a great alternative. Where I think that the misconception happens is I think some people tend to overdo it on those types of foods. Because at the end of the day, you wouldn't eat, beef hamburgers, or I would advise you against it, to eat hamburgers multiple times a week. It's kind of like, right. Okay, you want to focus on lean proteins during the week. If you're at a cookout, yeah, give me a burger, let's hang out, like that kind of thing. Still treat it like that. So I think a lot of people go for those type of replacements when they're trying to cut out meat, but I think that's great. I just think that you should starting with leaner proteins. If you want to cut out meat altogether, then I would go to leaner plant-based proteins, like try some tofu or tempeh, or start to incorporate some beans and lentils and things like that.
Okay. And then the question about cheat days. How do you feel about cheat days? Do they count? Do they matter?
I don't think they really matter. I think it's really psychological, just like how all nutrition is and eating habits is all emotional and psychological. I mean, unless you're in the military, maybe you may just look at food as fuel, but I mean, it's so emotional. So I think if that helps you eat healthier 6 days out of 7, I'm all for a cheat day. So okay. I think they're fine. I don't know if you've ever seen The Rock's cheat day video on YouTube. The Rock has like this giant cheat day meal that he eats. It really makes me nervous. Now that is excessive. He has like 20 pancakes, like a pack of bacon.
Oh, wow.
He has like 2 cheeseburgers and 2 milkshakes. And, of course that would be excessive, but I don't think there's anything wrong with a cheat day. I think they're a good idea. If it helps you eat better, not less, 6 days a week, but better.
Right. So let's get back. Listen, I'm telling you, mothers, they will be your mother anywhere, anytime. Our mother is in the comments talking about what are the rest of the COVID points. She's trying to keep the show flow. She's trying to keep us on track.
Where are the most of the okay,
where are the rest of the COVID points? She wants to know how to keep your nutrition intact when you're at home on quarantine. So let's reel it back in.
Oh, wow.
And let's go back to your tips.
Okay, I just looked at the time too. Wow, this is great. Okay, so my next tip is to stay hydrated. That is a big one. Reason one is that when you're at home, I think a lot of people use work for different kind of mental cues to do things. Before I go to work, by the end of the day, by lunchtime, I'll do this. We lose that when we're working from home. And a lot of people use their water intake for, I'm going to drink a couple of bottles before I go to lunch break, couple of bottles before I go home for the day. That's what people typically do. That's what I did. So still incorporate that at home. Because the thing about hydration, one, I think a lot of people don't drink the recommended amount of water per day for them, which, some people say half your body weight in ounces, but truly our body needs at least 64 ounces of water per day, non-negotiable, unless you're on some sort of fluid restriction for cardiac disease. So 64 ounces or 4 bottles of the regular size water per day is what I recommend. So the thing about dehydration is when you are dehydrated, it can actually make you feel more bloated, and it could encourage water retention. The reason for that is because while you're eating, we're eating throughout the day, water and salt coincide. So when you're intaking a lot of sodium or just a normal amount of sodium, you're always going to need water to balance that sodium out. Now, if I don't drink any water, but I have my, I'm just using an example. If I have my eggs and bacon, if I have my turkey sandwich on wheat bread, and then I have my salad with Thousand Island dressing, and then I have my steak and mashed potatoes for dinner, I am going to retain water because there is nothing that is flushing that salt through your body. So really think about, it's not just water. I know, like people say water is everything. It really honestly is. Like it truly serves as a medium for all of our cell metabolism, all the work that our body does to take care of us every day. Water is facilitating that, helping that move. So we need that, for our skin, for our hair, for our digestive tract, but especially for weight loss too. Because like I said, you will begin to retain water if that salt has nowhere to go.
So retaining water is kind of like having weight gain because the water is staying in your body.
Yeah, I mean, granted, it is water weight, but it will contribute to your overall feeling of bloated and kind of like icky, and you may see 1 or 2 pounds on the scale increase. Another reason that I really, really love when I drink a lot of water throughout the day is because you go to the bathroom more. Drinking more water means more bathroom breaks, means more steps. Simple as that. I mean, yes, it's annoying, but even if your bathroom isn't that far from your home office, you're still getting up and having to go. You can't hold your bladder, so you're gonna have to get up and take some steps. So that's another way you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone with hydration.
Okay. And what about if you don't really like water that much, or it tastes nasty? Like, okay, me personally, I'm about to let y'all in on my business a little bit. Like, you know how they tell you drink water first thing in the morning? I can't stand drinking water before I brush my teeth. I call it breath stank water. I cannot like roll out of bed and just guzzle down someone because I'm just like tasting mouth. So a lot of times this water doesn't have flavor. It's like tasting like whatever is in your mouth or whatever is going on, or you just get bored with it. So, I mean, can I do those little pouches, or is tea good? Can I drink juice? What counts?
Now, I am the same way. Demetrius, my husband, I'm sure everybody probably knows, he calls me water bougie because I kind of am. Like, I need to be entertained even with my water drinking. So what I do is if I get bored with regular water, I will, if you like carbonated water, that's a good way to mix up your water. You don't have to just drink just carbonated water. You can have a big water bottle and mix half still water and half carbonated. And if it's flavored, there's a little flavor for you. You can also use Crystal Light packets. You could use Mio's is another brand that has drops that you can put into your water to flavor it, and they don't have any sugar or calories. So Crystal Light is the same way. No sugar, no calories, and you can drop that into your water. I did have some more tips on water. Oh, you can also add, some fruit, some fresh fruit, lemons, limes, orange slices. You could do the fruit route. You could do drops. You could do some bubbles. There's some things you can do.
So I have to ask this question because I have heard, like, say if you drink wine or juice or soda or anything that isn't water or even coffee or whatever, that you have to like balance it out. So say your goal every day is to drink 4 bottles of water a day, but then you drink 2 glasses of wine. Does the water in the wine count?
No,
it's water in wine.
It doesn't. I mean, I wish it did too, but it doesn't. Um, Alcohol is dehydrating to our bodies. As much as it's a hard pill to swallow, it is very dehydrating. And our bodies naturally do not like alcohol, which is why it has all these side effects. Yes, you get a buzz, but yes, you're going to feel it in the morning and you might feel dehydrated and all these other symptoms, headaches, etc. So, to that point, I think one glass of wine, I don't think it necessarily warrants you have to replace that wine with water. I think if you get your 64 ounces in a day, one glass of wine is not going to dehydrate you. Once you get past one, I would suggest having a bottle of water, because then you're going to treat it like any other alcoholic beverage. So if you're having a beer or if you're having spirits, you would want to have one drink to one bottle of water each time. Now, the recommendation is one drink per day for women and drinks per day for men. Now, if you're doing over that, you're going to need a lot more water. But if you're following those guidelines like we all are, then I don't think you need to replace the water. But yes, if you go over one drink, definitely have a bottle of water per drink after that to avoid side effects and things like that the next day.
Okay. Okay. I guess I can get with that. But I always thought that I had to like balance it out or something, you know?
Well, it certainly makes you feel better. I mean, our body will do the work to filter out the alcohol. You know, that's a very simplified version, a very simplified way to say it. But our body will do the work to get rid of it because it does view it as I can't think of the word. It views it as I don't want to say poison, but like.
That's what I was thinking. Toxin? Is that the word you're looking for?
It's not a toxin. I can't think of the word, but it just, your body views alcohol as something it has to hurry up and get rid of, basically. It'll do the work, but if we're just speaking of your symptoms, you feel those because you're dehydrated. The hangover is from dehydration, mostly. So, yes. To your point, I would say final answer, yes. Replace the water with a drink if you go over one drink.
Okay. We do have a question here I want to get in. What advice do you have in regards to grocery shopping and trying to be healthy? I feel a lot of people just feel it's too expensive a lot of times, so they're going to get more unhealthy things. Thank you, Tay. Yeah, so avoiding getting healthy food because it's too expensive and all the bologna and hot dogs is cheap.
Yeah, that I feel like is every dietitian's battle, because it's the truth. You can't really argue with the truth, right? Like, there's nothing we can do about it. It's a fact. McDonald's is going to be cheaper than if you go to a health food restaurant. But the key is to always remember, just like you invest in, I don't know, a new phone, a new iPhone, a new MacBook, decor for your home, you know, summer hairstyles. As much as you invest in those things, you can invest in your health. That's my number one thing all the time. Now, to the point where it's expensive, I think it depends on what the healthy items are that you're picking. I used to do when I did a rotation at a diabetes clinic, and one of the things that we did were grocery store tours with our patients. So we actually took them into the Harris Teeter, walked them around the grocery store, and showed them healthy options. Was there another question? I don't know. I saw something pop up.
No, it was laughing. There was laughing.
Oh, laughing at me. Okay, so a good rule of thumb is to stay on the outer perimeter of the grocery store. So that's what we tell patients, and it's true. The outer perimeter of the grocery store is your bestie. That is where you're going to find all the healthiest foods. Now, that is also where you're going to find the foods that require the most preparation. So you're just going to find the raw fruits, the veggies, the grains, and things like that. So it is true that eating a healthier diet does require a little bit more prep. But again, if you set aside some time on Sunday, prep all your ingredients beforehand, you can take a lot of the stress out of it. So I don't know who asked about the grocery shopping, but If they have any, they can also send me an email if they have some specific items or anything they want me to look at in the grocery store, and I'd be happy to
Yes, and
talk
we
about
will
it.
leave Kayla's email address in the comments. So definitely look out for those. All right, we have another question coming in. How do you feel
Okay.
about fresh seafood versus prepackaged frozen seafood?
How do I feel about? Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Fresh versus frozen seafood.
Oh, they're the same. They're the exact same. I buy both.
Okay, that answers that.
I think they're great, and I don't think there's anything wrong with frozen, really anything, unless it's a frozen processed dinner or something. Of course, that's going to be high in sodium and everything else. But a frozen seafood versus a fresh, it's really just how quickly you want to use it. Honestly, same thing with frozen vegetables versus frozen fruits. Do you want to make salmon tonight for dinner? Okay, get the fresh. Might as well. If you want to have it for the week, definitely get the frozen. I do both.
Okay, so as long as it's not a pre-prepared frozen meal, then you're good to
Exactly.
go.
It has to be just salmon or just codfish. I wouldn't recommend the battered or the already seasoned. You want to be a control freak about your nutrition. Don't let anybody season your food for you. You season your food. That is how you keep control of the calories and the sodium and everything.
Yeah, I think this is really like one of the reasons why people always, want to eat like their grandparents and they say, oh, my grandparents ate whatever they wanted, this and that. But we have to remember that our grandparents were doing a lot of things on their own.
Yes, they were. Yep.
So what else do we have for you?
Okay.
Because we are winding down here. We're like in the last 10 minutes, and I want to make sure that we get through all of your awesome tips.
Okay, so I talked about the keeping it simple sometimes with don't be afraid to just have simple meals during the day and then maybe splurge on dinner. Okay, so snacking. Um, Before I talk about snacking, because I feel like we might have more questions about that, let me just say a couple other tips so I can make sure that I said them. So a good rule of thumb, and this is what actually Michelle Obama put into place, her MOVE program. When Obama was president, she had all of these different nutrition recommendations that she put into place. And one of them was My Plate. So My Plate was actually the replacement for the food pyramid that you were taught in school. And so it's just a different way of looking how to structure your plate. I think structuring your plate is a great way to quickly identify and making sure you're eating enough variety. So making half of your plate fruits and vegetables with every meal. Your protein doesn't have to be the star of every meal. Let other people have a chance to shine, So try to do that whenever you're eating, to have half of your plate fruits or veggies. Another thing, doing that helps you feel fuller for longer because you're eating more fiber rich foods. So you won't be having that urge to go snack, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then my last one before we talk about snacking is to avoid liquid calories. Liquid calories are truly my personal enemy. Now, I understand that they are necessary sometimes, but I feel like I would rather chew my food than drink my food.
Mm-hmm.
So trying your best to avoid things like soda and sweet tea, because they really hold you back. If you have any sort of weight loss goal and you find yourself drinking large amounts of sugary sweetened beverages, or we call SSBs, us dietitians call it, those are just a source of extra calories. So you want to avoid that when you're working from home and when you're in quarantine and when you're Netflix and chilling. Try to replace that soda or whatever with a carbonated water or a carbonated beverage or a fancy water, or have your drink. Just the thing that is, I guess, technically good about alcohol is you're going to feel it if you're drinking. So you're going to stop after a certain point, right?
Right.
You don't feel all that extra sugar that you're taking in when you're having 2 and 3 and 4 Cokes. There's no signal that your body is telling you to stop. So that's my big thing. If you can, try to avoid sugary sweetened beverages, and you can go back to those tips of, Crystal Light, Neo's drops, and everything for replacements. And they even have a sweet tea one. Okay. So snacking. Now, I know we talked before this, and I didn't know if you had any specific questions you wanted me to start with on snacking.
Well, it's crazy because I watch my 600-pound life a lot. And Dr. Nalzardan, who's, the bariatric surgeon, he always tells his patients no snacking. But, over the years doing different diet plans and things like that, they're like, have your 3 meals and you need to have 2 snacks in between those 3 meals. So I'm so confused on whether I should be snacking or not, what my snack should be. I used to eat granola bars, but then I found out they had all this sugar. I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing? Should I eat an apple? Is that too much sugar? Is natural sugar, but it's still sugar? I really don't know. Like, should I be snacking at all? And if so, what?
Okay. Well, okay. So going back to that show, I think the reason why he says no snacking is because the patients have no concept of satiety or that feeling of satisfaction when you're full. A lot of people don't really know what that feels like. You'd be surprised. So I think that is just kind of an extreme case. I think that the end goal should be that you should be just in tune with your body and eat when you're hungry, period. Okay. Now, before we get there, though, there are all these different ways that different diet plans try to teach you to do that. So you can actually modify times when you're hungry by eating more frequently. I think that's what those weight loss diets try to do, because your body starts expecting it. So if you have breakfast at 7 a.m. every day, if you have your snack at 10, lunch at 12, snack at 3, dinner at 7, your body's going to remember all of that, and it's going to tell you to eat all those times. Now, if you're making sure you're within a calorie goal or a range and you're making healthy choices, well, that's fine. But I don't think that you should snack just for the sake of saying I had a snack. If you're not hungry, no. But you should always drink raw water, if you're hungry or not. In regards to what types of snacks, so I think the goal, and we'll have to chat after this, because maybe I should send out some resources and like handouts and stuff to watch.
We should put it inside of the event, you guys. Check back inside of the event in the discussion section. We will put Kayla's email address and we'll list all the tips out for you.
Okay. So when it comes to snacking, I think a great snack is made protein and carbohydrate. And does a really great job of satisfying hunger and keeping you full into the next meal. So when I say protein and carbohydrate together, it would be something like grapes and some almonds together, or half of an apple or an apple if you get like a smaller one, because some of those apples are really big. Apple and maybe like some string cheese if you eat that. I have more, but I can't think of all of them at the moment. But that's what makes up a good snack: a protein and a carbohydrate together. You could do, if you eat maybe some sliced turkey, have some sliced turkey and a mandarin orange or a cutie, protein, carbohydrate, or protein and a fruit, protein and a vegetable. So I think that's what makes up a good snack. What makes up a bad snack is one that is full of, it's like a sugary snack. Mm-hmm. So that would be any kind of crisps, any kind of chips, any kind of crunchies, any kind of cracklies, any kind of salties, all of those things. Those are not good snacks.
Now, grinds.
Yes. I have a question. So those protein P3, it went away.
It says, so those protein P3 snack boxes should be good. They have just that.
Exactly.
The P3.
Those are great. Yes, I really, really like how they do those, because it's a great combination of everything. I think if you were to just have a carbohydrate rich snack, yes, you're going to feel that jolt of energy, but then it fizzes out very quickly. You're done. The protein, though, if you have that piece, slows that process down, slows the metabolism down, not slows your metabolism down, but slows the breaking down of that carbohydrate so that you can feel that energy for a long time.
Okay.
Long time meaning 2 to 3 hours. So, yes, the P3s are really good for that reason. And then Sargento has another snack combination like that too, where they give you like some cheese, some almonds, some cranberries. Those things are great.
Okay. So let's go back over, just briefly the tips again so that we can have them all in our head, because this is so much information to absorb. I feel like, man, I need to have you on again because I'm like, can you walk me through this?
Like this video, give us a like. Want us to do this again. Let's see if we can get some participation in the group. Let's see a heart or a like if you want us to do another session. And if you want us to do another session, we'll do another one, right? If that's okay with Jamie.
So we will wait. We will wait for the likes and the loves.
I don't see any.
They must have got the information. They know it. They got it down. So we're gonna see a bunch of skinny friends. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Somebody's like,
okay, so we will plan for that. Okay, so just briefly going through the tips because I know we're almost out of time. Okay, so my first tip for those who are just joining is to try to get at least 30 minutes a day of walking per day when you're working from home. That can be split up 10, 10, 10 throughout the day whenever you have time. Second tip would be to try to meal prep your meals ahead of time, same that you would do at work, even though you're at home. So you have some recipe sites that I gave you to help you with that. Staying hydrated, that's tip number 3. Make sure you're drinking enough water, because when you don't, your body wants to hold on to it because it wants to take care of us. It wants to take care of you, right? Yeah. So your body doesn't have to hold. Keep it simple sometimes. Not every meal working from home has to be some beautiful recipe that you saw on Food Network last night. It's simple to keep it cereal too, in the morning. Try to avoid snacking. We talked about some snacking tips and some good snacks and bad snacks. Make half of your plate fruits and vegetables. That will help encourage you to eat better and have more variety in your diet, and to try to avoid liquid calories as much as possible.
Okay, those are like really, really awesome tips. But I got one last question for you. If you had to choose just one of those tips, just one thing that everybody needs to change today, what would that one tip be?
I would say liquid calories. I would say let's have a talk about cutting back on sodas, really, really, really sugary coffee drinks, because nobody talks about those. Sweet teas and Kool-Aids and lemonade. Nobody really talks about that one either. That's viewed as healthy. Started out healthy with just lemon and water, but then we did some extra stuff to it, right? So I would say that is probably the most important step of all when keeping your weight maintained during quarantine. And I see my mother-in-law, she put the emoji like this. Okay, we're gonna have to talk. if that's about
she must do a lot of liquid calories.
Or no, the frappuccinos. Okay, I'll try to find like a lower calorie one or something. I think maybe that's one. I don't drink soda and I don't need coffee, but wine. Oh yeah.
But when you get that glass of wine, get your glass of water too.
Yeah, and wine is really high in sugar and calories too. Like, I mean, that.
Talking about beer bellies, you might have a wine belly.
I know, a wine fupa maybe. I might have one. I don't know. But yeah. So yes, we do have to do this again. I had so much fun
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah, me too. I love doing this kind of stuff with you. So, and I love
Yeah.
seeing you, do your thing. Well, we will have to do this again, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We will have the replay up. We know there were some issues with echoing and things. Bear with us. This is our first time. We like working through all these technical difficulties. And the next time, we promise we will, have everything all set for you, the audio and everything. But I'm hoping that you guys got some great tips out of this. In the event where we name the event, where you see Kayla's flyer and everything there. We are going to put Kayla's email address. We are going to put the tips that we discussed tonight. And please feel free to ask questions in the discussion section, especially if you did not get to watch this live and you're watching the replay. Go ahead and hit us up with questions. If you want to work with Kayla one-on-one and have that hand holding, she can definitely do that for you, just to help you out through this. We're all struggling through this quarantine. And even, look, I'm going to keep it real. Before the quarantine, baby, I was struggling, okay? I got my little gut. I got thighs. I got everything you can name, okay? So I'm just going to keep it real. This is for me for life. I need these tips. So Deborah, well, her mom says, can we watch this again? Is this recorded? Yeah. So the replay will be available as soon as we get out of the video. We are going to leave it right here, technical difficulties and all, because somebody needs to hear this information regardless of what's going on. So we will be doing this again, and we will announce. And you guys just have your questions ready and the things that you specifically want to talk about and the things that you are struggling with. Kayla is a registered dietitian, okay? I say she's a food doctor. So for some of you out there, you're struggling with specific health issues. You may have diabetes, high blood pressure. Kayla can talk to you and things with that. And so, if you want to talk to her on a personal one-on-one level, her information will be in the discussion section. We will put that in the event information so you can have private access to her to be able to really get your life together and really to be able to live longer, because that is really what this is all about. That is our goal for this, is to get you healthy, not just for the sake of looking good on the outside, but to have your body doing well on the inside so that you can have longer in life and have a better quality of life for yourself and your kids.
Yep. Well said.
So thank you again, Kayla. Kayla Hopkins, MS, RD, LDN, registered dietitian, right here on thegirlfriendexperience.org. This has been the Girlfriend Experience Classroom. Thank you so much for joining us. Please come back again. I will be here Thursday again live, and you will see Kayla again soon. My sister, my blood, doing big things in here, bringing information to the community, information that you can use, news that you actually want to hear that can benefit your life. So again, thank you so much. And until next time, peace and blessings. Thank you, Kayla. Love you.